Welcome to Surviving Social Services, a safe space for families to share their experience with social services in the UK. Our mission is simple: support before separation and family preservation. I am Renaya and I am your host. Just a quick disclaimer before we start. The views and experiences shared in this podcast are for personal awareness and discussion purposes only. I am not a legal professional and nothing said here should be taken as legal advice. If you are dealing with a situation involving social services or the law, it's really important for you to seek guidance from a qualified professional or a trusted organisation. Now we're going to jump into our next caller, so please give a warm welcome to Annie. Well, thank you so much, Annie, for joining us.
Okay.
I'm just going to be guiding you by a couple of questions like I told you in the text. But feel free to let me know if you ain't comfortable with anything or you want us to start, pause. It should feel like a really comfortable conversation, okay?
Yep.
So would you like to first start by telling us what was the reason for social workers' involvement?
Reason for very first coming involved was I had an operation called a craniotomy to remove a tumour from the base of my brain at the back of my nose.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was told I'd be in there for 3 days. I ended up being in there for 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember nothing about my stay in hospital, i.e. eating, washing, dressing, phone calls. I was lost in their system for 10.5 hours. I've come out of there. They had me on medication for epilepsy, although I've never suffered with epilepsy.
Oh.
I come back home. When I come back home, I went to my GP surgery. I asked the GP for some antibiotics for a water infection. Come back home with what I told everyone was antibiotics, but it wasn't. It was another set of anti-epileptic tablets.
Oh.
So through going to the doctors on my own, still being very confused, I was given this other set of anti-epileptic tablets, and I told everyone they were antibiotics. So I was overdose effectively
my gosh.
by the tablets. But none of the GPs or anything explained anything to any family members, even though I was still very confused. So because of that, I ended up with police officers out. My children's dad was then arrested for trying to kill me and overdosing me on them tablets. But like I said, it wasn't. It was me going to the doctors, coming back still very confused, telling everyone they were tablets that they weren't.
Yeah.
So had my GP have explained to the family member what the tablets were for before I left, then I wouldn't have been overdosed. I've then, because there was a story stuck back in my head from a few years before with an ex-friend of mine who sent my kid's dad a message saying to him, can't you shut her up? Can't you overdose her or something? Because I had information on her that was very damning for her. So that was stuck in my head. And I then accused him of overdosing me on these tablets. But that wouldn't have happened, like I said, had the doctor have said something to the family member.
Yeah, so you started even getting paranoid yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's a side effect from those tablets, though? Could be.
I don't actually know. But on side effects on there, looking back, I think they possibly were side effects from the tablet. Spoke to my GP. After I'd rang the police, they wanted me to go back. Well, spoke to the police. when they come out to the house, they wanted me to go into hospital. I was reluctant and then said, I'll go to my GP instead. I went there. I was told I had to be weaned off these tablets.
Wow.
But they were knocking me out constantly. So I weren't eating, I weren't drinking, anything. Got to the point where I ended up where I said to my dad, when he was giving me, I was down to 1.5 of the tablets a day. So I was down to 750 milligrams instead of 1,000, what I was on. I got myself down to 750. And my dad went to give me my tablets one day. And I said to my dad, I don't want them, take them with you. I'm not taking them all. From then, I didn't take another tablet.
Okay.
The hospital then went back to another doctor and said, is it safe for her to come off the tablets like this, or does she need to take them?
Okay.
Hadn't took them for 3 weeks when this doctor had been asked this question. And then my adult son was told to go and get his partner and their 2 children from his partner's mum's house because things were going on there that they shouldn't be around. And I was told by that social worker, when they come here, the 2 children had to stay here. If she wanted to go to her mother's, my son could take her there, and the children had to stay with me while he took her up there. So from that, my son was met with a load of armed police, surrounded his car after he was told to go and remove his children and their mother. Yeah. The grandmother, of his children, basically set it up and phoned the police and said that there was things going on and that he was on his way up there. But what she didn't know was the social worker had told him to do this. Yeah. So she made other stuff up and ended up where he was surrounded by police, pulling guns on him and everything outside that property. Wow. He then got out.
There?
What they were in the property.
Oh my gosh!
Not only his 2 children, but their cousin as well, who was a bit older than them 2. So he got arrested. Whatever was dealt with. Then early hours that morning, he was released. He come back home. I had no idea he'd been arrested. I just thought he hadn't come back. He'd just stayed up there. Worked till he come back. And when he come back and he said to me that he'd been in the police station all night and he had to walk from the police station back to my house. And that his car was still stuck up in the area where he was arrested from. So from that, I've got this text message off of social worker saying, are you free? I said, yes, I'm free. I thought she was going to ring me. Mm-hmm. My brother and his girlfriend were here at that specific time as well. And then about 30 seconds later, my door started hammering like some mad person at my door, hammering on my door with her hand. Yeah. I opened the door. It was a social worker. She come in, all panicky. You had an armed incident at your address, and children's dad were down the police station. News to me, but they weren't. I knew they weren't because children's dad had only been cleared the day before with the overdose stuff with the police. Okay. And he'd only just got here before the social worker did. Okay. And he was present in the house. Oh. So I knew he weren't there. But my son, like I said, to pick his kids up, and I thought he'd stayed up there. He weren't. He'd been arrested. But the incident that she opened up to bring herself back to my house happened back in 2017. There was an armed incident out of outside a previous address I
Oh,
lived in,
and that's
where
what was
my son was
used.
targeted by a gang in that local area.
Mm,
Um, and I was moved out of that house and left the city at that
yeah,
time.
so they had it on file.
But they had it on file and used it to
Yeah,
open my case again after closing it of 6 months of having it on my brain surgery and the overdose.
yeah, that's so bad.
And when she said to me about both from being there, I said to her, I said, well, Colin is here. He's come to see the kids. He got here just before you.
Mm,
And she looked at me as if to say, he can't be. He's in the police station. No, he's not. He's here. So I shouted him because he weren't in the living room. He'd gone upstairs to the bathroom. So I shouted him and said to him, can you be quick? So he come back downstairs and she was stood in the kitchen. She wouldn't talk to him in front of my brother and his girlfriend. She wanted to go in the kitchen. So I left my kitchen door open and I stood against it so that my door was open. She's gone and she told him what she was saying to me. He said, well, that's definitely not happened here.
mm,
It weren't till a few days later, after I spoke to the police officer involved with my son, I realised what the social worker had done. She'd opened this old case
mm-hmm,
and opened my case back up after closing it. And from then, instead of her admitting her mistake,
yeah.
she carried it on. And then we got another social worker who then carried it on. And we got another social worker and he carried it on. Then we went to another social worker and she carried it on.
Mm,
None of them tried to rectify that
of course.
mistake, although they knew I knew what had
Mm-hmm.
happened.
You
And
knew, they knew.
when we got into court for the first hearing, they said about removing the kids, and it was down with this judge. It was a male judge. Because my boys were climbing out the window because this social worker told them if they wanted to go out to a place of safety, they could climb out my front room
Wow.
window. Not out my front door, out my front room window. So they used to cause a fight with each other
Mm.
and then climb out the window.
Yeah, they're kids, of course. If you're
And then I was
told,
told
yeah,
if they're gone more than half an hour, ring the police.
yeah.
So I did what they told me to do because I thought nothing of it.
Mm.
I was ringing the police every day to report them missing because they've climbed off out the window. They've gone off, they've met their mates, they've come back. And on coming home, I was searching them. Everything I found on them, i.e. cannabis, because that's what it was, everything I found on them, it was took off them and either flushed down the toilet or scattered over the garden. But she's then gone into court and told, well, she's put in her reports to court that I was allowing them to smoke it in my house. Didn't ever allow them to smoke it in my house. If I caught them with it, it was taken off them and destroyed. I then found out that they were picking stuff up that was being dropped underneath my bin outside my house. But then I caught the person on my doorbell camera who was dropping this stuff underneath my bin.
Wow.
And it wasn't for my sons, it was being dropped. It was
Yeah.
from my neighbour. I give the evidence to the police. Nothing was ever done about it. And next door walked away scot-free for having that dropped into my bin.
Whoa.
I don't know if my boys got hold of any of that before I noticed that was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. And then you
So
feel like you've done the
very
right
well,
thing, but even that could be used against you now.
yeah, it could very well have been both my boys have at some point took that substance.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was being dropped under my bin regular for my neighbour's son. And I got the video of my neighbour's son as well, searching for it.
Okay, so you know that was his.
So I gave that all to the police. Nothing
Mm.
was ever done about it, and it was used against me in my court case.
Damn.
Then, after speaking to the officer that was dealing with my adult son,
Mm.
I told her what the social worker had said to me. She said, no, that ain't true at all. He hasn't been down here for anything like that. I said, well, can you contact this social worker? Because she's opened my case back up saying this is what happened.
Mm.
She said, no, it didn't happen at your house. Yes, my son was surrounded by police when he went to pick up his children and his partner, but it was nothing to do with my house, and it didn't happen at my house. And that was to do with, like I say, his social worker telling him to go and pick his children and their mum up. And because her
Again,
mum didn't
thinking you're
like
doing
it,
the right thing, or he
yeah,
thought he was doing the right thing.
yeah, and because his partner's mum didn't like what had been done, she set him up also with the police. But the social worker who was on my case, she also set my son up on that occasion. And still to this day, I've got two of the social workers walking up and down past my son's block of flats, like they're trying to find things out, and they're trying to intimidate and say, look, we're here, we are watching.
Yeah.
None of these said social work.
Say
that again.
Make sure they know that you are feeling intimidated and harassed. You say that. You put that in word. You got their names, so it's not going to be hard to find out who manages them. And we tell them you're feeling like you're harassed and intimidated.
With my son's actually videoed everything that's going on when they're walking past. I've got the videos of both of them walking past his block, staring up to his block.
Wow.
They're going past my mum's. The said social
really
worker.
Bad that it's very common that they will make a mistake, and then instead of just like trying to rectify it or fix the problem or even apologize, they want to make it worse. They want to prove and try and kind of create things and manipulate things. And
that's exactly what I said to my son and to their dad. They're creating the problems so that it's caused and they can keep hold of my daughter.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing, because they know if she's with them for so long, she's worth so much money to their council.
You said it. Funding.
That's all it's about, is money, money, money. Even with the judges, it's money, money, money.
And that's why it's important for these conversations. That's why it's important to hear these stories, because you know how many other people are literally being harassed and stalked by these people.
So there's quite a lot going on, and no one seems to want to listen, but the evidence that they're refusing to look at and keeps getting dismissed, and I've brought it up in the last 3 hearings that I've had, is the recording that my children's dad has got in his possession of the said social worker, and it was them that set up the armed police raid on my address, where me and the 3 kids were all taken out together and placed in the back of the police van. I asked them to take the handcuffs off me because my face and my hair was all in my face. My head had started hurting around the area of my operation, and I needed to release the pain in my head. They wouldn't take the handcuffs off me. They denied to a solicitor that the raid even happened. So I sent my solicitor all the videos, and then there was another one of a plainclothes officer outside my doorbell camera. No pace under 17. We don't have a body, and we didn't get a warrant. And that come from the police officer's mouth. And then they denied to my solicitor that there was ever a raid at my house.
You said you got proof.
I was lying. I've got all the videos on my phone.
Good.
The whole estate that I live on has got cameras everywhere.
They saw. Thank
So
God.
on my on the group chat that they've got for the estate, I just copied all the videos off there
Yeah.
and then sent them
Good.
over to my solicitor.
Good.
They then said to my solicitor, we offer 2,800, and can we guarantee that that's the case closed and we're not going to court? That solicitor agreed with that. I told her that I didn't want to agree to anything because they offered me 1,800 to start with. I said, no, I want to go to court.
Yeah.
And that's all I kept saying to her, I want to go to court. She never even tried to take my case to court to prove that they'd lied
Of
and that
course.
what they did was unlawful.
And it sounds like it was.
And she just refused to take my case to court because the trauma that they caused, not only from me, they caused it for my child. My son was placed in the foster care. He was placed in a doorway, which is the one where I've got on video. My son says to the girl that's in the care home, he was sitting in a doorway on the floor, and two of the male staff members come racing up the stairs, grabbed hold of him, started pulling him and shoving him around in a doorway. And then when he pushed back, the male member grabbed him by his testicles in the doorway.
Oh my gosh.
And my son said to him at the top of his voice in the video, get off my balls.
Oh my gosh.
And then the door got closed, and then you just heard loads of shouting
You can't see
and
anymore.
banging. And that male member of staff and the other one that was manhandling him are still working within care placements with vulnerable children and got away with what they did to him scot-free. So what are they doing to the other children in their care?
Of course, disgusting, and they don't have to take any accountability, no punishment. And this is what I was speaking about, especially when it comes to restraining young people in care homes. It is disgusting because I've seen it firsthand.
I was also made to agree to a dole's order on my son as well.
Wow.
When I questioned my legal about it and asked her what is a dole's order, because I'd never heard of it, and she told me it's where they can restrain him and they can stop him from leaving the property. And I said, no, I'm not agreeing with it.
Yeah.
I've got that in my paperwork. I didn't agree to it, but they've already gone to court and got it anyway.
Wow. That's a joke.
So, and then when after that incident where they grabbed him in the doorway, he managed to get into the office of that care home, get hold of car keys that they were warned about, because my adult son warned them the night before he's going to try and steal the car. He let social care know, he let the care home know direct, he let the local service know, and none of them took anything on board. He got the car keys, he got in the car, he got away.
So they're not even safeguarding him?
No, and he crashed it into two houses.
Wow.
And on one of the houses, right at the front of the house, he directly crashed into a gas meter.
Jeez.
So the houses still at the moment are not being lived in because they're still not structurally safe. And he ended up on a 2-year order for that. And he had to complete 6 months of a youth offending order where he had to go out and do things in the community.
Yeah.
He did. I do think he learned from that. I'm not saying he didn't learn from it. I'm saying I do think he learned a little bit from that.
Yeah.
But he's come back home with so much anger.
Of course.
And still kept saying to me when he was coming through contact visits, he kept saying to me and asking me, why did you let them take me?
Yeah.
And I told him straight in front of the contact workers, I didn't let them take you. I told you this would happen, but no one listened. And then you've got the two social workers that I mentioned who both got children's dad to make statements on 2 separate occasions. On one of them, I've got some of the statements that I managed to get through my solicitor when I was going through court the first time. The second lot of statements, they won't release to me. They're refusing. So they're withholding the information from the second report and won't give it me. But they already know. I know what's gone on. And if need be, children's dad has said that he will let the court have the recording, but he won't give it to anyone else because he wants the courts to hear it first. On my last hearing anyway, they basically completely discharged my care order, but they completely discharged it, and they said that they discharge it with the same fundings that he would get as if he was in care. He's asked me to find out how he gets this funding. I haven't got a clue where he goes. We've asked the PA, we've asked social workers, and none of them have come back to us with anything. They need to stop doing that.
Stop doing that, because they do that a lot. Tell a lot of young people, even me, growing up in their system, oh, when you're 18, you're going to get this money, you're going to get that money, and no one knows where to get the money. So they need to stop doing that.
This is exactly what's happening to him at the minute. No one's willing to answer that, any of us. I've tried to find out.
Have you got proof that he was told that he was going to get that money?
Yeah, it's in the court transcript.
Yeah, then you go to the complaint and you go stage 1, you go stage 2, you go stage 3.
I'm at stage 1 now. I'm just waiting for them to...
And they're gonna probably take their time. It's gonna be ages because they're hoping that you will probably just get bored of it. Yeah, forget about it, but keep pushing, because I'm telling you, it took me about 3-4 years, but I got my money. Yeah. Keep pushing. I'm
still waiting from stage 1 to go to stage 2. I've gone through complaints just before my case went to court, because I went through the complaint stage of my whole case before they took me to court. I put in complaints anyway. And then we got into the court arena, so they stopped and they said, you're now in the court arena, so we can't carry on with your complaint. So that stopped that complaint. But this one, I'm carrying it on. I'm not dropping it.
Yeah, keep pushing it. Keep going.
With children's dad, I can't get hold of the recording because he won't give it me. He wants it in the court arena. And every time I've put it in the court arena, they've totally dismissed it. They ain't even mentioned it. And on the last hearing, I was asked then if I had any questions for the social worker by the judge. I then said, yes, I have a question for the social worker.
Yeah.
I've gone and asked the social worker because I've been told all the way through my report my daughter was either wetting herself, soiling herself before and after visits, and she was dysregulated. So I asked the social worker who wrote it in the report that this was happening when this is what the carers said in the last meeting we had in your office last week. The carers said she'd wet herself twice and she'd had diarrhea twice. And it was after a birthday visit and a Christmas visit 2 years previously. So they waited till I went to court to bring it up 2 years later about her wetting herself and she'd had diarrhea. But that was brought up 2 years later because I took it back to court. So they used it in court so that the judge would say, well, she's dysregulated, there must be something wrong. And on every visit, all she keeps asking is, why can't I come back home?
Man. I know what that feels like.
She's actually said to me, don't you want me back home? I've said to her,
heartbreaking.
Yes, I do want you home. And yes, I am trying to go back through court.
Yeah.
But they keep stopping me, keep blocking me. When I explained everything to that judge, he told me, and I've got it in a letter, that the care order should be taken off and she should be returned home. But the judge here is saying, no, She's not coming back home. She's staying where she is. And I'm now blocking you from applying back to court and putting a Section 9114 order on you. Well, she said that in the courtroom about the Section 9114 order, but at that point, I wasn't actually in the court. I'd left the building and gone back to my car. Children's dad was still in the courtroom.
Okay.
And stuff that was said while I was in the courtroom is not in the transcript.
Okay.
And stuff that the children's dad said it's not in the transcript. There's parts missing.
Wow.
So they're hiding stuff just by going off that
course.
because the stuff wasn't there. And it states I'd left the court in this part of the transcript, but then later down the line, it states I was still in the court. No, I wasn't. I was out of court.
So there's even contradictions in their own.
Yeah, in their own paperwork.
Yeah. If you could tell a social worker or the social worker involved in your case right now, if you could just get them in front of you and you had the opportunity to say whatever you could to them, what would you say?
I'd be asking them to put the reports right that they've wrote, that they know are blatant lies, and I would want a public apology from them social workers and that manager. And I want them to apologise to my children in public as well for what they've put them through. And I want them to apologise to my daughter in public for withholding her from seeing her nan before she passed away and refused to allow her to go to her nan's funeral.
Wow. So sorry.
And I want them apologies in public.
You deserve it. Well, thank you so much for taking part and sharing your story today, Annie. Please give your daughter all the love and support and let her know. Obviously, I don't know how old she is, but one day we will be here for her. Keep her close, man.
Yeah.
And just don't give up. I'm going to keep in contact with you. I'm going to make sure we get to that stage 3, though.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Annie. Well, thank you for your call today. Really appreciate it.
That's okay. If it helps with the parents as well, I'm willing to help in any way.
Please, yeah, let's stay in contact. I'd love to get you involved.
There's quite a few people I speak to on WhatsApp as well. I could possibly tell them to give a message.
Yeah.
One parent that I actually am in touch with, she's been sent to prison on a number of occasions.
Wow. Yeah,
for speaking about her story.
Really? Oh my
yeah.
gosh. If you could, definitely share the message. As you can see, we're trying to get this as loud as possible. So, yeah, share it round and please
the only way we're going to get accountability as well.
Literally. And it's too much people going through the same thing. But yeah, thank you so much, Annie. Stay in contact.
I will.
And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I want to give a massive thank you to Annie. That was a very difficult conversation and it must be difficult for her too.